Unfortunate for the distance between us and them, since there's about several hundred yards between where we're standing and where the soldiers are firing. That should keep us fairly safe for the distance. The nice thing is that our vantage point from right here, it might appear a lot closer for each of us. There's now about, from us to the first of the line is right here, what would you say, about 200 to 300 yards, would you say that's a fair estimate from the first to the Jasper line right there? So we should be fair enough out of their range, as it were, from a direct shot. How are the weapons out there firing? Those rounds are capable of hitting a target upwards of 1,000 yards away. Coming on the Union front, looks like we have at the far left of the line in the red trousers, that looks to be the 4th Brigade. They call them Red Devils. A strong fighting unit to be sure. Goodness, you can barely see out there now. And there's conditions that sometimes occur when we have so much smoke coming across the battlefield. The officers simply give the men the order of ready fire, because no one can aim through all the thick smoke. Humidity and weather conditions and wind all affect that. But it does seem the smoke is clearing fairly thick for us at this as now. There looks to be Michigan boys on the right hand side. We've got these lads coming out of the woods in green. That's an elite unit as right there. Those lads know how to handle a rifle. That's about Ireland's Berdan sharpshooters. 2nd US sharpshooters, if I'm not mistaken. Aye. Those lads there, they can shoot. If you watch closely how the various lads load their weapons, this unit coming up next to us here, these are sharpshooters operating with the Sharps rifle. If you notice, they're doing all their loading on the back of the weapon, what's known as the breech, the direct end of the barrels where they're loading and firing from. But if you look far opposite them, to the lads in blue down the line, they're firing muzzle loaders. They're doing all their loading from the front of the barrel. Oh, it does look as one of the Jaspers are down. Oh, that was quite the shot. What was that, 700 yards there? That was a good shot, lad. Do keep your heads down. Try not to look important. Now, it is not too exceptionally common that we have civilian injuries from stray rounds, but it unfortunately does happen. So if your house is very hard by where a battlefield is, you might have a few musket balls or a can around or to pass through your living room. But again, at the great distance we are from the battle line, I think we'll be fine as of right now. Oh, look at them, they're facing, I believe that's South Carolina up the hill from us. It looks as though they're backed up with artillery. So they're going to attempt to get on their flank, meaning on the side of the unit there. They don't want to go straight to the bore of that cannon. The thing is basically a shotgun with a 7-inch bore. Not something you want to charge directly straight in if you can avoid it. So the mainline infantry, they're advancing forward. They pulled the colours slightly to the rear there. Very distinctive so that their own artillery can fire over the heads without hitting the lads. But they're also keeping the colours safe. That colour is the most honourable thing within that regiment. And those who want to give their life before they let that flag be taken, I will imagine. The person who holds the flag, that is the greatest, most honourable position within the line. Oh, it does look as the Confederate Irish, they're taking a bit of a hit and they're getting flanked. Does not seem it's going well for the lads in grey. Reinforcements. Now, it's not often that a cavalry soldier will engage in direct conflict. However, if they need to, they'll dismount most commonly and fight on foot. You see soldiers with yellow trimming on their uniforms. Those are cavalry soldiers who got off their horse and advanced in on foot, because the horses are valuable. They're hard to replace, but you can always find another soldier. So if a mounted soldier ends up dying, that's not so much of a loss. If the horse that he's mounted on ends up being killed, that's a great tragedy to the army. Those lads, though, on horseback, they're going to be the eyes and ears of the army. They're going to be watching. Because right now, I do believe they're thinking it's a bit too easy. They've driven the enemy back far too easy. And they're looking to make certain they have it in ambush before then. Artillery's focusing on each other, doing a duel of trust. For artillery, their main concern is that of calves, because they can come up on them so quickly. Enemy artillery is everything you can do, they can do the same back to you. And sharpshooters. Their main target, what they're looking for, mainline infantry. So soldiers are packed shoulder to shoulder, a single cannonball passing down through. Will take out a good several of them, especially if they're firing what's called spherical case, where the ball comes in and then explodes within the ranks. Invented by an Englishman by the name of Henry Shrapnel. In fact, lads are taking and calling the cannon bits and pieces after the shell explodes after Mr. Henry Shrapnel. Bullets that most of these lads are firing, actually, is a design perfected by a Frenchman, a gentleman by the name of Claude Minet. They're firing what's called a Minet ball. You'll hear a lot of these lads, they don't say it quite right, they say mini ball. It's not mini by any means at all, it's just over half an inch in diameter. Most of these lads fire somewhere between a 58 caliber or a 5.77, roughly the same size of a 58 caliber for the majority of these soldiers. Sharpshooters, their round is slightly smaller at about 52 caliber. There's not a single lad on this field that's firing anything under a 50 caliber, all of it over that, I'm certain. With the exception of the pistol that these mounted soldiers have. Look, the Confederacy has reinforced some camp at the top of the hill. If you look to the far right of their line, see some fresh soldiers coming in with yellow trim on their uniforms. So again, some of those camp soldiers, their horses are now just beyond the hill from us. They're reinforcing the line. As you're getting closer, something you may want to do. Don't cover both ears and have your mouth open. It allows the concussion to go in. Closest ear, keep your mouth open so the pressure equalizes and allows it to pass through. Yeah, do keep your heads down. Try not to look at forward. I don't think this. I imagine you may want to put it there. Keep your heads down as best you can.
They all died! I just watched them all go down!
You figure these rounds are firing again. They're about a 58 caliber for most of these lads. and it's travelling at about just under 1,000 feet per second. So for these poor lads who are hit, it's not a simple clean wound, but rather tears through the flesh, sharp bone, whatever it is. The lovely smell that you're smelling right now is the smell of black powder. These lads are firing. 10% of it is charcoal, thus constituting the black colour of it, why we call it black powder. 15% of it is a substance known as sulphur, thus the rotten egg smelling material that you kind of scent in the air as it were. 75% of what they're firing though is a chemical substance we refer to as saltpeter. The chemical elements of potassium nitrate, if you want to be scientific to it. Now for the south, they get most of their saltpeter from in and around the hen house. Yes, they're firing mostly bird poop, that's the smell over there. For these poor lads in the north, they don't have enough bird poop to go around. So they have to have another substance for it. Where do you find a large source of potassium nitrate if you're up in the north, in the cities and towns? There are not enough bird droppings to go around. However, the privies have a great deal of it. Human urine can be extracted to get the potassium nitrate out of. So that's a great deal of what these lads are firing. But if you look close, every now and then you'll see one of their weapons not quite functioning. There are some dishonest contractors who will put black sand in their black powder. Can't tell the difference until it's time to go shooting. It makes a great difference at that because black powder and black sand do not function the same at all. If you look closer to the soldiers next to us here, again these lads are firing the breech rifle, loading, the sharps rifle rather, loading from the breech. First thing they do is they withdraw the gunpowder cartridge from the cartridge box upon the back hip. That cartridge is then torn open, slid within the barrel, and so not even bothered to tear open, but slid into the breech of the weapon. In closing the weapon, it actually cuts open the cartridge. The soldier then caps, preparing the weapon to fire, putting a filament of mercury within the chrome of the piece, and thus prepared to fire. Upon squeezing the hammer falls, and squeezing the trigger, the hammer falls.
Man, they knocked out for the first Michigan.
And shooting a red hot spark into the barrel, if all works well. Union artillery is all taken down. Probably an enemy cannon hit, it looks as. One could argue that amongst the various horses, the South had the best raw materials for horsemen. Lads grew up around horses, they know how to handle them, how to heel them, how to ride them, so they have the best natural horsemen. Could be argued that for the South as well, they have the best raw materials for infantry. Those are used to the bucket life of walking about, campaigning, as it were, being out in the field, sleeping out in the open. The North, though, they have the greatest artillery, it said. They have the factories to be able to produce a great cannon. And a cannon is nothing more than a complex machine of sorts. So those who grew up around machines have a great advantage to that. But it does look as today, the Confederate artillery is doing a grand job driving off the Union. If I'm hearing things correctly, some of the lads have wet powder. You get any moisture whatsoever within that powder, and those chemical elements separate and no longer burn as it ought to. The hardest thing might have been, even since earlier today, these weapons have been fired, and we had a bit of moisture over this afternoon, and once the powder is spent, about 80% or so of the powder, when you fire, goes out the barrel. But that leaves somewhat like 20% of the powder they put down the barrel will remain in the barrel. It's what's called fouling, drying within the barrel. Very susceptible to water. So those the barrels may actually be saturated with water just from being out in the air, sucking the moisture out of the air. This might explain some of the misfires these lads are having. Looks like they've recruited the Union guns. They're back up in operation. This is all the cars making a sortie. They're attempting to drive back the foe. You have to watch out for that. That is a great use of cam. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, the Confederate forces are surrendering. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a moment of silence for the fallen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the lads a great round of applause. And put on a great show for them.
Draw for the Union. And I guess for the Rebs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the soldiers be gathering back up and doing some procedural safety maneuvers, as it were. During the course of our reenactment, perhaps rounds were not fully fired, there may be powder residue in the barrel, perhaps when they took a hit, they got some debris within the barrel, something of that nature. So they're going to be forming up and they're going to do a procedural exercise by which to clear their barrels, making sure they're safe to return to camp. It gives you the great advantage, though, as they will be coming somewhat close to our line here. You'll be able to see all the various soldiers, the various units they represent, the various weapons that they carry. Understand that every one of these boys out here have spent great deals of time and money of researching and perfecting their equipment to do the best impression that they possibly can to make certain they're teaching history in the finest way possible. Again, directly before us in the green, the Berdan sharpshooters. We have 3rd Michigan directly in front of us as of right over here. We've got Brooklyn over that way. We've got New York soldiers coming up with the flag as of right here. And again, that flag is the symbol of the company, the mark and the pride, the most honourable position on the battlefield is in truth one of the more deadlier ones, the soldier carrying the flag. But to be that colour sergeant, that is the position of great honour. I was waiting for the lads to form up. Does anyone here have any questions? Have any questions whatsoever? Ah, a question, sir. Do we keep track of the numbers? Yes, indeed. Truthfully, what we don't do, but what does happen after a battle, is the officers would do similar as you're seeing here. They would form their men back up. Then they would take roll, and they would read down through the list of all the soldiers who are supposed to be there. And hopefully, they get the call of present, sir. If you don't hear present, they'll call out the name again. Call it out a 3rd time. If someone knows, they might give an answer. Oh, sir, he's sick in camp. About 2 out of every 3 soldiers who are dead during the war died not out here on the battlefield, but back in camp of camp diseases. 2 out of every 3. So quite a big number in that regard. The majority of these soldiers are going to die from disease. But after the end of the battle, so very often, it's killed on the battlefield or wounded on the battlefield. I have a question. How many men shoot? Well, truthfully, on the battlefield, All the men except the one who controls them all, which if you look, this gentleman carrying the sword, he does not need to carry a weapon as he is an officer. He gives the order to all the others. They don't shoot because they want to shoot, or when they want to shoot, it is on his orders. And he'll use a variety of different tactics by which to try to break the enemy's line, either having his men all fire together, have them taking turns, having them fire one at a time, all those different strategies and how they fire to make the greatest effect on the foe by his decision. So all the soldiers shoot unless they're the ones in charge. When they're in charge, they won't be carrying a weapon so much, aside from a sword, which is more of a symbol than an actual weapon. One more question. So in the actual war, the distances between the men, the battling distance of the majority of these weapons is about 300 yards. So they would stand about 300 yards, which is, they can hit a man-sized target at that, and that is sufficient. If you have a smoothbore, which some of the soldiers do have, particularly the Irish regiments, oftentimes given the smoothbore weapons, 100 yards. So they're going to be a lot closer. But at the distance we do here, we do it at fingertip distances, much closer than actuality. A cannon from this range, one round of that cannon would wipe out all these lads here, and it would be a very boring show for you. So we try to and give you a bit more of an experience, as it were. Alright, look closely to the Union Army as of here. They are loading their weapons, they're pulling out that gunpowder cartridge, that paper wrapped of powder and lead ball. They're then tearing it open, pouring the powder and ball down the barrel. The next step would be to withdraw their rammers and push that lead ball all the way to the back of the barrel. Obviously, for safety concerns, we're not using actual lead, so the lads are foregoing even the ramrods to keep things safe. They then prime the weapon, placing that percussion cap on the back of the weapon, and are standing at attention, waiting for that next order. They're going to be firing what's known as a volley, all the soldiers firing at the same time. The goal is they want to give their officer one loud boom and put hundreds of rounds of lead in the air at the same time on that one order. Let's see how well these lads do. And of course, he's going to have them turn them around because these weapons will fire a flame about 15 feet. At the concussive blast, we might feel it, so he's having them turn around for safety. Now he's had them fire and clear their weapons of black powder. Now he's going to have them do it again with no black powder, doing just that percussion cap, that filament of mercury. We'll see what we get out of here. We're looking first to make sure every weapon did go off, there's no powder in the barrel, thus the barrel's clear, and we'll give you a sense of how loud just the priming is. Ladies and gentlemen, your Union Army, give them a cheer.
Whoa!
Now their weapons are clear and safe. In a moment, these lads will be going back to camp. Please join them in camp again. They've studied well and hard. They are and as of now, we're going to direct our attention over to the lads in grey, the Confederate ranks. It's their turn to do the same. Again, they're handling cartridge, they're tearing it open, pouring that powder down the barrel. Most of these lads are firing somewhere between 60 to 80 grains of black powder. Once powder's down the barrel, they are then priming their pieces and then return to the shoulder as that identification to their officer, their weapon is loaded and they are prepared to give fire.
Yeah, no, it's right there.
Fight, brother, right? Come out, please.
You'll notice the commanding officer stepping out of their men there, being ready to hail them as needed. good. Now, having cleared their pieces of black powder, again, they're going to put that percussion cap upon it and clear it just with the percussion cap, ensuring the barrels are empty of all black powder.
Battalion! Fire battalion! Hey! Hey! Fire! Recover! Face by the front right, come out, move!
And ladies and gentlemen, the Confederate Army, give them a cheer as well.
Woo!
We have the meat!
Every unit has their own slogan, their own culture, as it were. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in joining us out here on the field, you are in fact welcome to do so. Every one of these units represent a specific unit under a specific commander, and again, that specific culture, as it were. They do take enlistments. If you wish, find a group you enjoy, talk with them, ask them what you need to do to be part of their unit. We will gladly invite you out. They have the equipment to loan to you for your first time out. They'll work with you, they'll teach you, give you the books you need to read, the study you need to do. We always enjoy having more out in this hobby.
Forward! One, two, one.
And the beautiful thing, to join the infantry, you only have to count to 2. If you count to 2, you are more than sufficient to join the infantry. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a cheer for the lads as they return back to camp.
Woo! Huzzah! Huzzah!
Now our camps are open till 5 o'clock, so ladies and gentlemen, please attend with us in camp. Ask questions of the soldiers, enjoy the rest of your time, learn something, and be proud of your American heritage. This is your story, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out. Final cheer for the Union Army as they depart the field as well.
Huzzah!